Fig Gardens here. Today I'm going to show you how to make the best competition style fig jam, homemade, homegrown, the best you've ever had. And there's the source of my figs, my 6-year-old Celeste fig tree. Beautiful, but mammoth. And you can see I've got a few ripe ones ready to pick right now. Look at that beauty. I've harvested about 4 pounds of figs. I would say there's about 60 plus in here. We'll clean these and we'll cut them into fourths. We're going to wash the whole figs thoroughly before we start cutting them into fourths. Now before I start slicing the figs, I've gathered everything I need for this operation. I've got pure honey from Midlothian, Texas. I've got bottled lime juice. Now you can replace this with a fresh lime or lemon, as is called in most recipes. But I've heard the bottled lime juice has high acidity and it goes a long way in canning figs. We've got ground cinnamon. We've got our pot for cooking the figs. And I like a lip for the pouring at the end. We've got pure cane sugar, or a teaspoon for the cinnamon, and half a cup for the sugar and water, our slicing utensil. Now something I forgot to mention in the fig jam, put a little twist on it. We're adding the Appleton J. Ray Jamaican Silver Rum, about 1.5 to 2 ounces to the fig jam. Now as you can see, what I'm doing here is I'm cutting these in fourths and disregarding the stem. And you can do whole figs, you can cut them in halves. This cutting them in fourths just makes it easier when you're trying to break down the fig into a jam texture. We've sliced the 4 pounds of figs in fourths, and I wanted to make an important point. During that process, we've cut off about a ½ pound in stem and undesirable portions. So you need to adjust your recipe accordingly. So we've added the 1.5 cups of sugar, and instead of 3/4 honey, I've decided to go 2/3. Honey has a tendency to overpower the figs, so I backed off that a little bit. We've also added the ½ cup of lime juice and a ½ cup of water. What I'm going to do now is stir to blend the flavors together. And this is optional, but I like to put it in the fridge for about an hour, let it marinate a bit. You can put it directly on the stove and get started if you like. Now we stirred our marinade together, and this is probably my favorite part of the process. I like to let it marinate in the fridge for about an hour, as I stated. Gives me time to have a cold beverage, take a break, and well, look at here. Wife left some Jello shots. I'll be back. While the figs are marinating, I'll get the jars cleaned and sterilized. These are ½ pint, 8 ounce standard ball mason jars. And if you're doing competition level fig jam, these are required. After cleaning, we've added the 6 jars to a hot water bath for sanitation. I also recommend you grab one of these at your supermarket. These are jar lifting tongs and they will save your fingers. After a 10 to 15 minute boiling hot water bath for sterilization, we'll let our jars and our lids air dry while we stir up the fig stew. Now it's time to bring the fig, sugar, honey, and lime to a boil. Now that we've brought our figs to a boil, I'm going to turn it to low heat and a simmer for about 45 minutes. Stirring every 5 minutes and pressing the figs to get the consistency we want. You can add water as needed throughout the process. I feel it's pretty safe to say that we had about 4 pounds of figs. And for 4 pounds of figs, you need about 60 minutes on a medium to low simmer. And what we've done is we started with 45 minutes. We added about 13 minutes to thicken to a fig jam. And for the last 5 minutes, I'm going to add a teaspoon of cinnamon. And this will help thicken it and also add a flavor that I really like. Now this is optional, but this will really bring out the smell and it'll bond the sugars together. You know your jam is ready when you can take a spoonful and you can see the fruit is soft and slides off the spoon in thick clumps. We know we're ready for canning now. We have filled all 6 of our sterilized half-pint, 8-ounce standard size jars with a 1/4 inch headspace, and that 1/4 inch headspace is required for competition. After cleaning each rim on each jar of any residue to ensure a tight seal, we've added the lids. This is exactly what we've been waiting for right here. Our 6 jars full of delicious fig jam are in their water bath. We're going to give it about 10 minutes in this water bath and that'll seal the deal. After a 10-minute hot boiling water bath, these are your 6 fig jam contestants for the State Fair of Texas. You need to win 4 elements of the competition: color, consistency, taste, and flavor. There is no 5th element in this competition, but I like to put my spin on it. So we'll do earth, water, pollination, and love. That's how you win it. And you cannot deny the color and the flavor of this fig jam recipe. We will win it this year. Stay tuned.